Welcome back to the channel. Imagine pulling up beside what looks like an ordinary Chevrolet van. But the moment the door slides open, you realize you're staring into something that feels more like a billionaire's private jet than a road vehicle. Reclining executive seats wrapped in hand-stitched leather. A ceiling glowing like a luxury lounge at 40,000 feet. Massive digital displays. Crystal glass controls. And a cabin so silent it almost feels disconnected from the outside world. But the craziest part is, this isn't a concept anymore. This is the 2026 Chevrolet Luxury van, and it may completely change the way people think about travel forever. For decades, vans were seen as practical machines. Family movers, work vehicles, airport shuttles. They were built for utility, not emotion. But something strange has been happening in the automotive world over the last few years. Luxury buyers are slowly turning away from traditional limousines and oversized SUVs. The new obsession is privacy, comfort, and space. And Chevrolet saw the opportunity before almost anyone else. The 2026 Chevrolet Luxury van is not just another upgraded people carrier. It is an attempt to create an entirely new category. A rolling luxury suite designed for celebrities, executives, athletes, diplomats, and even wealthy families who want the experience of first-class air travel without ever stepping into an airport. And once you see what's hidden inside this machine, it becomes obvious why so many people are suddenly talking about it. From the outside, the van still carries hints of Chevrolet's bold American design language. But this time, everything feels more futuristic and far more aggressive. The front fascia is sharper. The LED lighting stretches across the width of the vehicle like something from a science fiction movie. The grille is massive but elegant, giving the van a commanding road presence that immediately separates it from normal commercial vans. The proportions are enormous. Longer, wider, taller, but somehow it still looks sleek instead of bulky. Chevrolet's designers worked carefully to make the body flow like a luxury train rather than a delivery vehicle. Flush door handles, hidden aerodynamic elements, and massive premium wheels make the van look expensive even before it moves. But that's only the beginning, because the real magic starts when the doors open. Inside, the 2026 Chevrolet Luxury van feels completely disconnected from reality. The first thing people notice is the silence. Chevrolet engineered multiple layers of acoustic insulation, active noise cancellation, and vibration dampening materials into the cabin. At highway speeds, passengers can whisper to each other without raising their voices. And then your eyes begin adjusting to the lighting. The ceiling features customizable ambient LEDs inspired by private aviation cabins. Soft flowing light stretches across the roof panels, while hidden accent strips illuminate the floor and side walls. Some versions even offer a simulated starlight ceiling that turns nighttime driving into something surreal. But that's not even the most shocking part. The seats inside this van are closer to first-class airline pods than automotive seats. They recline almost flat. They include heating, cooling, massage functions, and powered leg rests. Every passenger gets their own digital control panel for climate settings, lighting, entertainment, and privacy features. And yes, privacy is one of the biggest reasons this van exists. Many wealthy buyers no longer want attention. They want protection from it. SUVs with dark windows still expose passengers to crowds, cameras, and noise. But inside this luxury van, passengers are isolated from the outside world almost completely. Electrochromic glass can instantly switch from transparent to opaque. Automated privacy partitions separate the driver from the passenger cabin. Some versions even include conference call technology and secure communication systems for business executives traveling between meetings. In other words, this isn't just transportation. It's a mobile office.
A mobile hôtel suite.
A mobile escape pod. And Chevrolet knew exactly what kind of customers would fall in love with that idea. What makes this even more fascinating is that luxury vans are already exploding in popularity across parts of Asia and the Middle East. In countries like China, South Korea, and the UAE, ultra-premium vans have become status symbols for celebrities and business leaders. But in North America, the segment has remained surprisingly small. Until now. The 2026 Chevrolet luxury van could become the vehicle that finally brings the luxury van revolution to the American market in a massive way. And the deeper you look into the engineering, the more ambitious this project becomes. Underneath the luxury-focused design is a platform engineered for extreme comfort. Chevrolet reportedly redesigned suspension geometry specifically for smoothness instead of sporty handling. Adaptive air suspension constantly scans the road surface and adjusts damping in milliseconds. The result is something passengers describe as floating. Road imperfections almost disappear. Speed bumps feel softened. Highway cruising becomes eerily smooth. Even long-distance travel stops feeling exhausting. But Chevrolet didn't stop there. The van is also expected to feature advanced driver assistance systems that border on semi-autonomous driving. Highway cruise assistance, lane centering technology, predictive braking systems, and AI-powered traffic analysis allow the van to handle long trips with minimal driver stress. And what happened next surprised everyone. Because during early demonstrations, people realized this vehicle wasn't trying to compete with normal vans at all. It was trying to compete with private jets. Think about it. Private aviation offers comfort and privacy, but it also comes with airport delays, scheduling problems, weather disruptions, security checks, and massive operating costs. Chevrolet's idea was simple but brilliant. What if wealthy travelers could get 80% of the luxury jet experience while staying on the ground? Suddenly, the luxury van makes perfect sense. Executives can travel city to city while working inside a rolling conference room. Families can take cross-country trips without sacrificing comfort. Celebrities can avoid paparazzi while moving through cities discreetly. Even luxury hotels and premium transportation services are already showing interest in these vehicles. But the real reason this machine exists is something very few people know. Modern luxury buyers are changing. For years, flashy sports cars represented wealth. Loud engines, aggressive styling, maximum attention. But today, many high-net-worth customers prefer quiet luxury instead. Comfort over speed, privacy over visibility, experience over appearance. And this van captures that shift perfectly. In many ways, it represents the future of luxury itself. Then comes the technology. Massive OLED screens are integrated into the cabin walls. Wireless device charging is everywhere. Voice-controlled cabin systems allow passengers to adjust lighting, climate, and media without touching buttons. Some configurations even include fold-out tables, mini refrigerators, and espresso systems. Yes, espresso systems. Imagine sitting in a reclining leather chair while fresh coffee is prepared beside you during a highway journey. That's the level Chevrolet is aiming for here. And yet somehow, the company still found ways to push the experience even further. The sound system inside the 2026 Chevrolet luxury van is expected to rival high-end home theaters. Engineers carefully tuned the cabin acoustics so music feels immersive from every seat. Hidden speakers are integrated into the ceiling, doors, and even headrests. Movie streaming, gaming systems, and virtual meeting capabilities transform the cabin into an entertainment lounge on wheels. But halfway through development, Chevrolet encountered a huge challenge. Wait, all this luxury equipment added enormous mass to the vehicle. Advanced seating systems, insulation materials, technology hardware, and reinforced structural components pushed engineering teams to rethink everything. So Chevrolet began using lightweight composite materials and aluminum-intensive construction methods to reduce overall weight while maintaining strength and safety. And that decision may have completely transformed the vehicle's performance. Because despite its size, the van is expected to deliver surprisingly smooth acceleration and stability. Some reports suggest hybrid powertrain options could arrive as well, combining turbocharged engines with electric assistance for better efficiency and silent low-speed driving. And if that happens, the luxury experience becomes even more dramatic. Imagine gliding silently through a city at night while sitting inside a fully illuminated executive lounge. No engine vibration, no harsh noise, just soft lighting, music, and near total isolation from the outside world. That's not transportation anymore. That's an experience. And experiences are exactly what modern luxury buyers crave. But there's another detail most people completely overlook. The driver. While passengers enjoy the ultra-luxury rear cabin, Chevrolet also redesigned the driver environment to feel more premium than ever before. The cockpit includes massive digital displays, advanced navigation systems, AI-assisted controls, and improved ergonomics for long-distance operation. Because this van isn't only meant to be driven occasionally. It's designed for serious travel. Some luxury transportation companies are already imagining airport transfer services where clients never want the journey to end. Corporate fleets are exploring mobile executive suites for traveling teams. Even content creators and influencers are becoming interested in these vehicles as mobile production studios. And that's where things become truly interesting. Because the 2026 Chevrolet luxury van may quietly influence industries far beyond the automotive world. Think about how remote work changed everything after the global pandemic. Millions of people realized work no longer needed to happen inside traditional offices. Now companies are exploring mobility in entirely new ways. What if meetings happen while traveling? What if productivity continues during long-distance transportation? What if luxury travel becomes part of the workday itself? This van was built around those exact questions. And Chevrolet may have arrived at the perfect time. But then came the most unexpected revelation of all. The luxury van isn't just appealing to older executives. Younger, wealthy buyers are becoming obsessed with them too, especially entrepreneurs, tech founders, athletes, and digital creators who spend huge portions of their lives moving between cities. For them, the vehicle becomes a personal space that travels everywhere they go. A lounge, an office, a recording studio, a sleeping area, private sanctuary, all inside one machine. And once you understand that concept, the van suddenly stops sounding strange. It starts sounding inevitable. Of course, Chevrolet also had to make sure the vehicle delivered serious safety performance. Massive structural reinforcements, advanced collision avoidance systems, 360-degree monitoring cameras, and next-generation airbag deployment systems were all engineered specifically for this luxury platform. Because when customers spend this kind of money, expectations become extreme. And speaking of money, the estimated price of high-end configurations is expected to shock many people. Some customized versions could approach the cost of exotic supercars. That's right, a van potentially costing as much as a Lamborghini. But surprisingly, that may not stop demand at all. Because buyers in this category are no longer shopping based only on horsepower or speed. They are shopping for comfort, exclusivity, and emotional experience. And Chevrolet understands that better than ever before. Customization is expected to become a massive part of the ownership experience. Buyers may be able to choose from countless leather combinations, wood finishes, ambient lighting themes, entertainment packages, and executive seating layouts. Some ultra-premium builds may even be individually commissioned, meaning no two vans are exactly alike. And that exclusivity adds another layer of attraction for luxury customers. But the most insane feature of the entire vehicle may actually be something invisible: artificial intelligence. Chevrolet is reportedly integrating AI systems capable of learning passenger preferences over time. Seat positions, lighting levels, climate settings, entertainment choices, travel routes. Everything can be remembered and automatically adjusted. The van slowly adapts to its owner, almost like a luxury hotel suite that recognizes you every time you enter. And that level of personalization changes the emotional connection people feel toward a vehicle. Because the van stops feeling mechanical. It starts feeling alive. Then there's the possibility of future fully autonomous capability. Imagine this scenario. You finish dinner in one city, step inside the van, recline your seat, watch a movie, fall asleep, and wake up hours later in another city while the vehicle handled most of the driving itself. That future suddenly feels much closer than most people realize. And Chevrolet clearly wants to be part of that transformation. What's fascinating is how quickly public opinion around vans is changing because of vehicles like this. 10 years ago, luxury vans sounded boring. Today, they represent one of the most innovative areas in transportation. They combine luxury, practicality, privacy, technology, and comfort in ways SUVs simply cannot match. And once passengers experience one in person, many never want to go back. That might be the biggest surprise of all. The 2026 Chevrolet luxury van is not about replacing sports cars or luxury sedans. It's about redefining what premium travel actually means. Because true luxury is no longer just about speed. It's about time, comfort, peace, freedom, the ability to move through the world without stress. And this machine was designed around that philosophy from the beginning. As the automotive industry races toward electrification, automation, and AI-driven experiences, vehicles like this may become the blueprint for the future of transportation itself. Not aggressive, not noisy, not attention-seeking, just intelligent, relaxing, deeply personalized mobility. Private jet on wheels. And honestly, that description may still not fully capture how surreal this van really is. Because when you step inside, the outside world almost disappears. Traffic feels distant. Noise fades away. The cabin becomes its own universe, moving silently down the highway. That's why so many people believe luxury vans could become the next major evolution in high-end travel. And Chevrolet may have just built one of the most important examples yet. The craziest part? This is probably only the beginning. Because if this concept succeeds, other automakers will rush to create even more advanced rolling luxury suites. Entire new industries could emerge around mobile living, mobile entertainment, and ultra-premium ground travel. The line between car, office, hotel, and lounge may completely disappear. And years from now, people might look back at traditional luxury cars the same way we now look at old first-class airline cabins. Impressive for their time, but nowhere near what came next. The 2026 Chevrolet luxury van isn't just another vehicle launch. It's a glimpse into the future of luxury itself. And once you see what's coming next, ordinary travel may never feel the same again. Welcome back. Imagine pulling into a luxury resort worth millions of dollars. Except the entire resort is moving silently down the highway beside you. No hotel reservations. No airports. No crowds. Just pure luxury on wheels. And now, Cadillac has done something nobody thought possible. They've unveiled a futuristic $2.3 million motorhome that looks less like an RV and more like a private mansion built for billionaires. But what makes this machine truly unbelievable isn't just the luxury inside. It's the technology hidden underneath it. The 2027 Cadillac motorhome is unlike anything the RV industry has ever seen. For decades, luxury motorhomes have tried to copy the feeling of five-star hotels. Some added marble floors. Others added giant TVs or expensive leather seats. But Cadillac approached this project from an entirely different angle. Instead of building another oversized camper, they asked one question: what would happen if a luxury electric limousine, a private jet suite, and a futuristic smart home were merged into one moving masterpiece? And the result is absolutely insane. At first glance, the vehicle almost doesn't look real. The body stretches across the road with a smooth aerodynamic design that feels more like a concept vehicle from a sci-fi movie than a traditional RV. The front end carries Cadillac's iconic glowing crystal-style lighting signature, but here it's transformed into something dramatic and aggressive. Thin LED blades run across the width of the vehicle, giving it a sharp futuristic stare that turns heads instantly. But that's only the beginning. The body panels are made from lightweight carbon composite materials mixed with aerospace-grade aluminum. This reduces weight while making the entire structure incredibly strong. And because the surface is smoother than traditional RV designs, the vehicle slices through air more efficiently, reducing drag and improving range. And yes, range matters here because this motorhome is fully electric. That alone shocked the RV industry. Most luxury motorhomes rely on massive diesel engines that are noisy, heavy, and expensive to maintain. But Cadillac decided to eliminate all of that. Hidden beneath the floor is an advanced ultra-high-capacity battery system paired with 4 independent electric motors. Together, they produce nearly 1,500 horsepower. That's more power than some supercars. And what happened during testing surprised everyone. Despite weighing as much as a small house, this giant luxury machine reportedly accelerates smoother and faster than many SUVs on the road today. Drivers describe the experience as floating silently through the highway. But the craziest part hasn't even been revealed yet. When parked, the 2027 Cadillac motorhome transforms completely. Side panels slide outward automatically. Roof sections elevate. Hidden glass walls expand. Within minutes, the vehicle becomes a two-story luxury living space with over 500 square feet of interior room. It feels impossible until you see it. Inside, the first thing people notice is the silence. Traditional RVs creak, vibrate, and hum constantly. But this machine feels more like stepping into a luxury penthouse apartment. Cadillac used advanced sound dampening technology inspired by high-end recording studios and private aircraft cabins. The windows are electrochromic smart glass capable of changing transparency instantly. One touch can darken the entire cabin for privacy or brighten it with panoramic views. And those views become unforgettable thanks to the massive wraparound windows. The interior design is where Cadillac truly went crazy. Instead of cluttering the cabin with buttons and controls, almost everything is hidden. Screens disappear into walls. Tables emerge from the floor. Storage compartments open with voice commands. Even the lighting system reacts to mood, weather, and time of day. But there's one room inside that nobody expected. In the center of the vehicle sits a full luxury lounge inspired by first-class airline suites. There are reclining heated seats covered in hand-stitched Italian leather.
Ambient lighting glows softly beneath crystal accents.
A holographic entertainment system projects floating interactive displays in midair. And the entire room can rotate slightly so passengers always face the best outdoor view when parked. That alone would make this RV extraordinary. But Cadillac kept going. The kitchen inside the motorhome looks like something from a billionaire's penthouse. Countertops are carved from ultra-light synthetic marble designed specifically for mobile environments. Cabinets open electronically with gesture controls. Hidden induction cooktops appear only when needed. There's even an AI-powered refrigerator that tracks food freshness and can automatically reorder groceries through connected delivery systems. And just wait until you see the bedroom. Most RV bedrooms feel cramped and narrow. But Cadillac designed there's like a luxury hotel suite. The king-size smart bed adjusts automatically based on sleep posture and body temperature. The ceiling above transforms into a digital skylight capable of simulating stars, sunsets, or even northern lights effects. Soft hidden speakers create immersive environmental sounds like ocean waves or rainstorms. But the real shock comes from the bathroom. People online couldn't believe it when early details leaked. The bathroom features a spa-style rainfall shower with water recycling technology normally used in advanced eco-hotels. Heated stone flooring keeps the room warm during cold nights. Mirrors include augmented reality health monitoring systems that can check hydration levels, heart rate, and stress indicators. And that's still not the most expensive feature. Hidden beneath the rear floor section is something almost nobody expected in a motorhome, a deployable electric luxury vehicle. Cadillac engineered a compact autonomous city car that slides out from the back compartment like a futuristic drawer. So once owners park the motorhome, they can explore nearby cities without moving the giant RV itself. That single feature changed how people viewed luxury travel forever. But the real reason this machine exists is something very few people know. The luxury travel industry has been changing rapidly over the last few years. Wealthy travelers are becoming less interested in crowded resorts and commercial tourism. Privacy has become the ultimate luxury. And Cadillac realized there was a growing group of ultra-rich buyers who wanted complete freedom without sacrificing comfort. So instead of creating transportation, they created a moving private sanctuary. And the engineering behind it is even more impressive than the luxury itself. The suspension system uses adaptive magnetic ride technology evolved from Cadillac's performance vehicles. Thousands of road surface adjustments happen every second, allowing the giant vehicle to glide smoothly over rough terrain. Cameras and AI sensors scan the road ahead in real time, preparing the suspension before bumps are even reached. Sounds impossible, but it works. Then there's the autonomous driving system. This motorhome includes one of the most advanced self-driving platforms ever installed in a recreational vehicle. On approved highways, the vehicle can essentially drive itself while passengers relax inside. Some owners may never touch the steering wheel during long road trips. But Cadillac didn't stop with automation. The roof of the motorhome contains an advanced solar skin made from ultra-thin photovoltaic layers integrated directly into the bodywork. During daylight hours, the system continuously charges onboard batteries, powering appliances and extending travel range. Combined with solid-state battery technology, the vehicle reportedly achieves over 800 miles of total travel capability under ideal conditions. For something this massive, that number is astonishing. And then there's the security system. Because many future owners will likely be celebrities, executives, or high-profile clients, Cadillac designed the motorhome with private protection features rarely discussed publicly. The glass layers are reinforced for extreme durability. Facial recognition systems monitor entry points. AI-assisted cameras track movement around the vehicle. Even the communication system includes encrypted satellite connectivity. This isn't just an RV anymore. It's practically a rolling fortress. But halfway through development, Cadillac engineers faced a major problem nobody saw coming. The weight of luxury materials and battery systems pushed the vehicle beyond initial targets. Early prototypes became too heavy for efficient performance. Many companies would have scaled back features at that point. Cadillac did the opposite. They partnered with aerospace specialists to redesign structural components using ultra-light materials normally reserved for private jets and high-performance aircraft. That decision increased development costs massively. But it also transformed the vehicle into something revolutionary. And suddenly, competitors looked outdated overnight. Traditional luxury RV brands focused mainly on bigger interiors and expensive decorations. Cadillac focused on creating an entirely new experience. One where technology, comfort, sustainability, and mobility blend together seamlessly. And then came the feature that truly broke the internet: the rear panoramic lounge. At the push of a button, the back wall of the motorhome opens into a transparent glass relaxation deck overlooking the surrounding landscape. Hidden seating extends outward. Ambient floor lighting activates automatically. Climate systems maintain perfect temperature conditions. Imagine parking beside mountains, oceans, deserts, or forests, then watching sunsets from your own moving sky lounge. It's basically a luxury observation suite on wheels. But there's another detail most people completely miss. The AI system inside the vehicle actually learns passenger habits over time. It remembers preferred lighting, temperature, seating positions, entertainment choices, sleep schedules, and travel routines. The longer owners use the motorhome, the smarter it becomes. In many ways, it behaves more like a living digital assistant than a vehicle. And because this is Cadillac, performance still matters. Despite its massive size, the motorhome includes torque vectoring technology that improves handling dramatically. Rear-wheel steering helps maneuver tight spaces. Active aerodynamics adjust body airflow depending on speed. Even crosswind stabilization systems keep the vehicle steady during difficult weather conditions. That's something most RV owners can only dream about. And then there's the hidden luxury nobody talks about enough: freedom. Think about it. A normal luxury vacation requires planning flights, booking hotels, waiting in lines, packing bags, dealing with schedules, and depending on countless services. But this machine changes that entire lifestyle. Owners can wake up beside a beach one morning, then sleep beneath snowy mountains the next night, all while carrying their personal luxury suite everywhere they go. That emotional feeling of total independence is what Cadillac is really selling. And surprisingly, environmental technology became one of the project's biggest priorities. Most people assume giant luxury vehicles are terrible for the environment. But Cadillac's engineering team wanted this motorhome to challenge that idea completely. The electric drivetrain eliminates diesel emissions. Water recycling systems reduce waste dramatically. Smart climate control minimizes energy usage. Interior materials include sustainable synthetic fabrics, recycled metals, and responsibly sourced woods. Even the tires were specially developed to reduce rolling resistance and road noise. But perhaps the most fascinating part of the entire story is how secretive the project remained for years. Insiders claim Cadillac began exploring futuristic motorhome concepts long before the public ever heard rumors about it. Small engineering teams reportedly worked under strict confidentiality agreements. Prototype testing often happened late at night in isolated desert locations. Some early designs looked so futuristic that executives feared people wouldn't believe they were real. Now, after finally unveiling the project, the automotive world can't stop talking about it. Luxury RV manufacturers are scrambling to respond. Tech companies are paying attention. Even private aviation brands are reportedly studying Cadillac's approach to mobile luxury living. Because this machine may have created an entirely new category. And then comes the price tag. $2.3 million. First, that number sounds outrageous. But when buyers compare it to private yachts, luxury penthouses, or custom private jets, suddenly the value becomes clearer. This isn't simply transportation. It's a fully self-contained luxury ecosystem capable of traveling almost anywhere. And according to reports, demand may already exceed production capacity. Cadillac plans to build only a very limited number each year, making every unit incredibly exclusive. Buyers will reportedly customize nearly everything, from interior themes to technology packages. Some owners may even request private office spaces, wellness rooms, recording studios, or personalized art installations inside their vehicles. That level of customization pushes the experience far beyond normal RV ownership. But there's one final feature that perfectly captures how futuristic this motorhome truly is. At night, the entire exterior transforms. Thousands of micro-LED elements integrated into the body panels create subtle illuminated patterns across the surface of the vehicle. The lighting reacts dynamically while driving, charging, or parked. From a distance, it almost appears alive. Some people who witnessed private demonstrations described it as a spaceship disguised as a luxury hotel. And honestly, that description isn't far from the truth. Because the 2027 Cadillac motorhome represents something bigger than just a vehicle. It represents a glimpse into how luxury travel itself may evolve over the next decade. A future where homes become mobile, where technology removes stress from travel, where comfort and freedom exist together without compromise. For generations, people dreamed about life on the open road. But those dreams usually came with sacrifices. Smaller spaces, rough rides, constant maintenance, and limited comfort. Cadillac looked at all those problems and asked a radical question. What if you never had to sacrifice anything at all? And somehow, they may have actually done it. The craziest part is that this could only be the beginning. If this technology eventually reaches mainstream vehicles, the entire RV industry may change forever. Future families might travel in silent electric homes powered by AI, renewable energy, and autonomous systems inspired directly by this machine. So while most people see the 2027 Cadillac motorhome as an ultra-expensive luxury toy for the rich, others see something much bigger. A preview of tomorrow. And after seeing what Cadillac has created here, tomorrow suddenly looks unbelievable. In a world where vans are usually seen as simple work machines, something has just changed everything. Imagine stepping inside a vehicle that doesn't feel like a van at all, but a private jet on wheels, a luxury hotel suite, and a high-tech command center all combined into one. And the craziest part? It's built on something you would never expect, the 2026 GMC Savannah. Yes, this is not just a van anymore. This is a complete transformation of what a van is supposed to be. And what you are about to see will make you question why anyone still travels in anything else. Because hidden behind its familiar exterior is a machine that has been completely reimagined from the ground up. A van that looks ordinary from the outside, but inside, it tells a completely different story. A story of luxury, innovation, and obsession with detail that pushes the limits of what's possible on four wheels. And what's even more unbelievable is this. Most people have no idea this version even exists yet. At first glance, it still carries the classic Savannah shape. Boxy, strong, familiar. But the moment the doors open, everything changes. The sound of the latch alone feels different, heavier, more refined, like opening the door to a luxury suite rather than a utility vehicle. And that's when the transformation begins. Soft ambient lighting slowly reveals the interior, starting from the floor and rising upward like a sunrise inside a private cabin. The seats are not just seats anymore. They are fully adjustable, heated, ventilated, and wrapped in premium materials that feel closer to first-class airline seating than anything you would expect in a van. But that's just the beginning. Because hidden beneath the surface, this van has been engineered with an entirely new philosophy. It's not about transporting people anymore. It's about creating an experience where travel itself becomes the destination. And as you move further inside, something unexpected happens. The sound outside begins to disappear, not because the world is quiet, but because this van is built like a sealed luxury capsule. Acoustic insulation layers, vibration dampening systems, and advanced noise-canceling architecture all work together to create something surreal. You don't just ride inside it, you float inside it. But here's where things start getting even more interesting. Because while most luxury vehicles focus only on comfort, this one also hides a level of intelligence that feels almost futuristic. Every seat, every light, every window shade is controlled through a seamless digital interface.
No clutter, no confusión.
Just smooth, intuitive control that responds almost instantly. It feels less like operating a vehicle and more like interacting with a living environment. And yet, that's still not the most impressive part. Because the real shock comes when you realize how this van was designed to adapt. It doesn't just offer luxury. It learns. It adjusts temperature based on passenger behavior. It adapts lighting based on time of day and mood. It even recalibrates suspension comfort depending on road conditions in real time. It's almost like the van understands you. But of course, all of this raises one question. Why would a van need this level of sophistication? And that's where the story takes a deeper turn. The 2026 GMC Savannah wasn't built just for luxury travelers. It was designed for a new era of mobile lifestyles. Business executives who live on the road. Content creators who turn travel into production studios. Families who want a home that moves with them. Even VIP transport services that demand absolute privacy and comfort. This is not just transportation anymore. It's mobile living redefined. And as you move deeper into the cabin, another surprise appears. A fully integrated entertainment wall emerges from the interior design, almost invisible when not in use. A massive ultra-high-definition screen stretches across the space, paired with surround sound systems tuned like a professional cinema. But it doesn't stop there. Because this isn't just for watching movies. It's for turning the van into a mobile office, a conference room, or even a live streaming studio. Multiple connectivity ports, satellite integration, and high-speed wireless systems ensure that no matter where this van travels, the world is always connected. And yet, while all of this feels impressive, there's still a hidden layer most people would never notice at first. The engineering beneath the surface is where things truly become extreme. The suspension system has been completely reworked to handle both comfort and performance. It glides over rough roads like they don't exist. Every bump is absorbed before it even reaches the cabin. And the chassis itself has been reinforced with lightweight composite materials that improve stability without sacrificing efficiency. It feels like the van is reading the road before it even touches it. But then comes something even more unexpected. A hidden modular design system allows the interior layout to transform in real time. Seats can shift, rotate, or fold away completely. Tables can emerge or disappear. Even the sleeping configuration can change depending on how many passengers are inside. It's like a living puzzle that reshapes itself based on your needs. And just when you think it can't go any further, there's a moment that changes everything. Because this van also introduces a level of security rarely seen outside military-grade vehicles. Facial recognition entry, biometric authentication, real-time surveillance monitoring, even advanced perimeter scanning that detects movement around the vehicle when parked. Privacy isn't just a feature here, it's a priority. But what makes it even more fascinating is how discreet all of this is. Nothing feels overdone. Everything is hidden beneath elegant design choices, smooth surfaces, and minimalist aesthetics that never reveal the complexity working underneath. And somewhere in the middle of all this innovation, a surprising fact emerges. This entire system was reportedly inspired by private aviation interiors and high-end yacht design. Engineers studied how luxury behaves in confined moving spaces, and then tried to recreate that feeling on land. The result is something that doesn't feel like a van at all. Feels like a moving sanctuary. But the story doesn't stop here. Because under the hood, the 2026 Savannah also brings improvements that most people wouldn't expect from a luxury-focused build. A refined power system delivers smoother acceleration, optimized fuel efficiency, and enhanced towing capability without compromising comfort. It's still a workhorse at its core, just one that has been elevated beyond recognition. And here's where things start to get even more fascinating. This van is also designed with future upgrades in mind, meaning its systems can evolve over time. Software updates can introduce new features. Interior configurations can be reprogrammed. Even performance tuning can be adjusted remotely. It's not just a vehicle you buy. It's a platform that grows with you. And that brings us to one of the most impressive aspects of all, sustainability. Despite its luxury focus, the 2026 Savannah integrates energy-efficient systems that reduce overall consumption. Smart climate control, regenerative power systems, and optimized electronics all work together to make this level of comfort more responsible than ever before. But even then, there's still one final layer to uncover. Because the real magic of this van isn't just in what it does. It's in how it makes people feel. Imagine traveling for hours without fatigue, working without distraction, relaxing without interruption, sleeping without discomfort. It doesn't just move you from one place to another. It changes the way you experience movement entirely. And as we reach the final reveal, everything comes together. The 2026 GMC Savannah is not trying to compete with cars, SUVs, or even other luxury vans. It exists in its own category, a category where mobility, comfort, intelligence, and luxury merge into one seamless experience. And maybe the most surprising part of all is this. This is just the beginning. Because once people start experiencing what a van like this can really do, the entire idea of travel will begin to shift. No longer will people think of vehicles as simple transport. They will think of them as living spaces, personalized environments, mobile worlds designed around human experience. And that is the true impact of this machine. So the next time you see a van on the road, don't just think of what it is. Think of what it could become. Because if the 2026 GMC Savannah is any indication of the future, then we are entering an era where the line between home, office, and vehicle is about to disappear completely. And once that line is gone, travel will never be the same again. What if I told you that in 2026, Toyota quietly built something so extreme, so oversized, and so technologically advanced that it doesn't even feel like a vehicle anymore, but more like a moving fortress designed to survive deserts, mountains, frozen wilderness, and anything else Earth can throw at it. And the most shocking part, it's not even officially on sale. Some people say it's just a concept. Others swear it's already being tested in secret locations. But one thing is certain. The 2026 Toyota Hypermax Elite 6x6 camper is unlike anything the automotive world has ever seen before. And what you're about to hear will completely change how you think about off-road travel forever. It starts with size. But not just big. This thing is massive in a way that makes normal RVs look like toy cars. Imagine a luxury expedition truck stretched over 6 massive off-road wheels, each one taller than a grown adult. The body sits high above the ground, not just for clearance but for dominance. It feels less like a camper and more like a mobile base camp built for exploring planets, not countries. But here's where it gets interesting. Toyota didn't design it just for size or comfort. They designed it for survival in places where roads simply don't exist. And that's where the story begins to get strange. Because engineers didn't start with a camper. They started with a battlefield grade 6x6 chassis concept originally meant for disaster rescue missions. But somewhere along the way, someone asked a simple question. What if people could actually live inside this thing for weeks at a time? That one question changed everything. The frame was reinforced with aerospace-grade alloys, not just for strength, but for flexibility under extreme pressure. Each axle is independently controlled, meaning all 6 wheels can move in different directions when needed. That allows the Hypermax Elite to climb obstacles that would stop even the most advanced military trucks. But that's not even the most shocking part, because hidden inside those enormous wheel arches is a suspension system that feels almost unreal. It doesn't just absorb shocks, predicts terrain. Using a combination of ground-scanning radar and AI-assisted driving logic, the system prepares each wheel milliseconds before it hits the ground. So instead of bouncing over rocks, it glides across them like they're not even there. And yet, despite all this engineering madness, Toyota didn't forget comfort. In fact, what they did inside might be even more impressive than the outside. As you step into the Hypermax Elite, everything changes instantly. It no longer feels like a truck. It feels like a luxury penthouse suspended above the wilderness.
SUV también lighting uraps aruung curva interior panels.
The materials aren't just premium, they're smart. They adjust temperature automatically depending on your body heat and external conditions. But here's where things take a strange turn, because this camper doesn't just respond to the environment. It learns from you. Every movement, every preference, every sleeping pattern is tracked by an internal AI system that slowly adapts the entire living space. If you like cooler nights, the system remembers. If you prefer brighter mornings, the lighting changes gradually without you even touching a switch. And just when you think it's only about comfort, Toyota introduces something unexpected: autonomy. The Hypermax Elite is designed to operate in full self-sufficient expedition mode for up to 30 days without external support. Solar panels are hidden seamlessly into the roof structure, but they are only part of the system. Underneath the body, there's a compact hydrogen energy generator that quietly powers everything from propulsion to kitchen appliances. But here's the twist. It doesn't just generate energy. It optimizes it in real time, meaning the vehicle can decide when to conserve, when to store, and when to release power based on terrain, weather, and travel distance. And this is where things get even more intriguing, because the Hypermax Elite doesn't just drive like a camper. Thinks like one. Imagine traveling through a desert at night. Visibility drops. Winds pick up. Most vehicles would slow down or stop completely. But in this machine, the AI analyzes wind direction, sand density, and tire grip instantly, adjusting suspension height and torque distribution across all 6 wheels to maintain perfect balance. It's almost like the vehicle is alive. But Toyota didn't stop there. Inside, the layout is completely modular. Walls can shift electronically. Beds can expand or fold into storage units. The kitchen can disappear entirely into the floor when not needed. Everything is designed to transform depending on your journey. And then comes the part nobody expects: a hidden observation deck. At the top level, a panoramic glass dome slowly rises from the roof. From there, you can see everything: mountains, stars, endless desert horizons. It feels less like a camper feature and more like something from a science fiction film. But what's truly fascinating is why it exists. Because engineers didn't design this for luxury alone. They designed it for psychological survival during long isolation journeys. Studies show that travelers in extreme environments often lose sense of time and direction. The observation dome helps ground the human mind, reconnecting it with nature in a way no screen or window ever could. And yet, there's still more hidden beneath the surface. Around the halfway mark of its development story, something unusual happened. Engineers reportedly discovered that the chassis could support far more weight than expected. Instead of improving fuel efficiency or reducing mass, they did the opposite. They expanded the system. Why? Because they wanted to turn it into a mobile ecosystem. That means the Hypermax Elite isn't just a camper. It's capable of carrying its own support environment. Small drone bays are integrated into the rear section, allowing scouting drones to fly ahead and map terrain in real time. Water recycling systems can extract and purify moisture from the air. Even waste is processed and converted into usable energy. And this is where things become almost unbelievable. The vehicle is said to include a self-healing outer coating. Small scratches and dents slowly repair themselves using nano-embedded materials reacting to sunlight and heat. Over time, the body literally restores itself. But the real reason this machine exists is something very few people know. It wasn't designed for vacation travel. It was designed for future exploration missions on Earth's most extreme environments. Think polar ice fields, volcanic regions, and deep desert zones where traditional vehicles fail within hours. Toyota's vision wasn't just to build a camper. It was to redefine long-range survival mobility. And that's when everything escalated. Because early prototypes reportedly underwent tests in conditions that simulated Mars-like terrain. Extreme heat during the day, freezing temperatures at night, unpredictable terrain shifts. And still, the Hypermax Elite continued moving without failure. But there's one feature that shocked even the engineers: a silent mode. When activated, the entire vehicle reduces its sound output to near zero. Engine noise disappears. Mechanical movement is dampened. Even tire friction is minimized. It becomes almost invisible in motion, designed for situations where stealth or environmental respect is critical. Now imagine this massive 6x6 Fortress gliding silently across a desert at night under a sky full of stars. But we still haven't talked about the most insane innovation yet. Because deep inside its control system lies a predictive navigation AI that doesn't just respond to terrain. It predicts routes that don't even exist yet. It analyzes environmental patterns, historical terrain shifts, and weather data to create paths that maximize safety and efficiency before the driver even chooses a direction. In some tests, the system has reportedly suggested routes that saved hours of travel by identifying natural terrain corridors invisible to human navigation. And then comes the final transformation. The Hypermax Elite can detach its rear module. Yes, the entire living compartment can separate from the driving unit. This means you can set up camp while the vehicle itself goes out for scouting, resupply, or energy collection. It essentially becomes two independent machines working together as one system. That level of flexibility changes everything about long-distance exploration. But as impressive as all of this sounds, Toyota engineers still describe it in a surprisingly simple way. They say it's not a truck. It's not a camper. It's a self-contained world on wheels. And maybe that's the best way to understand it. Because when you look at everything combined, the 6x6 drivetrain, the adaptive suspension, the AI-driven environment, the modular living space, the autonomous energy systems, it stops feeling like a vehicle built for roads and starts feeling like something built to go beyond them. As we reach the end of this journey, it's hard not to wonder what comes next. If this is what a 2026 concept looks like, what happens in 2030 or 2040? Because the Hypermax Elite isn't just showing us a new type of camper. It's showing us a future where travel, survival, and technology merge into a single intelligent system. And maybe the most shocking part of all, this might only be the beginning. Imagine waking up inside a moving luxury penthouse, except it's not a building. It's driving at 120 kilometers per hour down an open highway, completely silent, completely smooth, and built on a platform most people thought was outdated decades ago. And yet, what GMC has done with this machine will completely change how you think about motorhomes forever. What you are about to see is not just a van. It's not just a camper. It is something engineers quietly call the last evolution of road luxury. The 2027 GMC Savannah 3500 motorhome. And here's the strange part. This vehicle was never supposed to exist like this. A few years ago, the GMC Savannah platform was considered old school, almost forgotten in a world moving toward futuristic electric vans and autonomous pods. But behind closed doors, something very different was happening. Engineers weren't retiring it. They were reimagining it from the ground up. And what they created is so extreme, so unexpected, that even industry insiders didn't believe it at first. Because the moment you step inside this motorhome, you realize something shocking. This isn't a converted van anymore. It feels like a private first-class aircraft cabin that somehow learned how to drive on roads. But the real question is, How did a platform known for utility become one of the most luxurious road machines ever imagined? To understand that, we have to start from the outside. At first glance, the 2027 GMC Savannah 3500 motorhome still carries a familiar silhouette. But the similarities end the moment you notice the details. The body panels are now crafted from ultra-light composite aluminum infused with carbon weave reinforcement, giving it the strength of industrial machinery, but the weight of something far more refined. The front fascia has been completely redesigned. The grille is no longer just a grille. It's an active aerodynamic system. It breathes. It opens and closes depending on speed, cooling systems, and even cabin temperature. The headlights don't just illuminate the road. They scan it, mapping terrain in real time using adaptive laser precision. But that's not even the most shocking part. Because hidden beneath the body is something most people would never expect from a motorhome of this size. A semi-autonomous driving intelligence system that learns your driving style over time. It doesn't just assist you, it adapts to you. And as we move closer to the interior, things begin to feel less like transportation, and more like entering a private luxury world. The doors open with a soft hydraulic whisper, and instantly you're hit with a completely different atmosphere. Warm ambient lighting flows through the cabin like sunlight at sunset. The materials are not what you'd expect in a van. Hand-stitched Italian leather wraps every surface. Real wood, aged and polished to perfection, lines the walls. Even the ceiling feels alive with soft fiber optic starlight patterns that mimic the night sky. But here's where things start to feel almost unreal. The entire interior is modular. Nothing is fixed in place. Walls can shift. Furniture can reconfigure. A lounge becomes a sleeping suite. A dining area transforms into a workspace. Everything responds to voice, gesture, or even emotional state detected through biometric sensors. And yes, it knows how tired you are. But just when you think this is the peak of innovation, there's something else quietly working in the background. A system GMC calls Silent Horizon. It's an advanced stabilization platform that reads road vibration 1,000 times per second and actively cancels motion before you feel it. Even on rough terrain, the cabin feels like it's floating above the ground. And that leads us to a strange realization. You don't feel like you're driving anymore. You feel like you're being carried. But there's still more beneath the surface. Because this motorhome isn't powered by a traditional engine alone. Underneath the chassis sits a dual hybrid system combining next-generation turbo efficiency with electric torque distribution. It switches seamlessly depending on terrain, speed, and load. On highways, it becomes whisper-quiet electric cruising. In remote areas, it unlocks full combustion hybrid power for endurance travel. And somehow, fuel efficiency improves compared to older Savannah models by nearly 60%. But that's not even what surprises engineers the most. The real breakthrough is energy independence. On the roof sits a solar skin layer that doesn't just collect sunlight. It absorbs ambient light even in cloudy conditions. Combined with regenerative braking and kinetic floor systems inside the cabin, this motorhome can partially recharge itself while parked or even while people are walking inside it. And just when you think it can't get more advanced, it does. Because the 2027 GMC Savannah 3500 motorhome is not just designed for travel. It is designed for living anywhere. Inside, the kitchen system is fully automated. Ingredients are stored in smart refrigeration units that track nutrition, freshness, and meal planning. The system can prepare meals based on dietary goals, travel conditions, and even stress levels. The bathroom isn't just a bathroom anymore. It's a spa environment with adaptive water temperature zones, air purification systems, and mineral infusion settings that replicate natural hot springs from around the world. But here's where things take a strange turn. Hidden within the floor structure is a technology few people know about, a micro-air filtration system originally developed for extreme survival vehicles. It means the air inside the motorhome is cleaner than most mountain environments on Earth. And that's when you start to realize something deeper. This isn't just luxury. This is survival-level engineering disguised as comfort. But wait, because we haven't talked about the most futuristic part yet. The AI companion system. This motorhome doesn't just respond to commands. communicates. It learns your habits, predicts your needs, and quietly adjusts everything around you without interruption. Lighting, temperature, seating position, even entertainment choices, all optimized in real time. And sometimes, it even suggests routes you didn't plan. Not random routes. Smart scenic paths designed to reduce stress, maximize efficiency, or simply show you places you didn't know existed. But there's a mystery behind this system that few people talk about. Why would GMC invest so heavily in a motorhome platform that seems almost too advanced for public roads? And this is where the story gets even more interesting. Because mid-development, engineers reportedly discovered something unexpected. Demand wasn't coming from traditional RV buyers. It was coming from a new category of users entirely. Remote workers, digital nomads, even emergency response teams. People who needed mobility without sacrificing stability or comfort. And that changed everything. The project shifted from being a luxury experiment to becoming a future living solution. But just when the design seemed complete, another breakthrough happened. The suspension system. Instead of traditional hydraulics, the Savannah 3500 motorhome uses predictive magnetic damping. Cameras scan the road ahead and adjust suspension before the wheels even hit imperfections. Potholes feel like small ripples. Off-road terrain feels like a soft surface. And what's even more insane is how it handles corners. Despite its size, it leans into turns like a much smaller vehicle. The system redistributes weight dynamically in milliseconds. But here's the part that truly surprised testers. In certain conditions, the vehicle feels like it's anticipating the road before it appears. And that's when rumors started spreading inside testing facilities. That the system wasn't just reacting anymore. It was predicting. Now imagine combining that with the panoramic glass roof system, which shifts from transparent to opaque depending on sunlight, privacy, or mood settings. At night, it turns into a full constellation simulation system, mapping real-time stars above your exact location anywhere on Earth. Feels less like traveling, and more like floating through a controlled dream. But we still haven't reached the most extreme feature. Because hidden in the rear compartment is something unexpected, a transformable expansion module. When parked, the motorhome can extend outward, almost doubling its living space. Floors slide out silently. Walls unfold like origami. Suddenly, a compact luxury vehicle becomes a full private suite with terrace-level space. And this is where things get emotional. Because people who have experienced it describe the same feeling. Not excitement, not surprise, but something closer to disbelief that a vehicle like this is even allowed on roads. But there's one final layer to this story. The future implication. Because the 2027 GMC Savannah 3500 motorhome is not just a product. It is a signal. A message that the line between home and vehicle is disappearing faster than anyone expected. We are entering an era where travel no longer means leaving comfort behind. It means taking your entire world with you. And as we reach the end of this story, one final thought remains. If this is what a modern motorhome looks like today, then what will the next generation of mobile living feel like? Because something tells us, this is only the beginning. And what comes next might not just change vehicles. It might change the way we live forever. What if I told you that Toyota has secretly built a machine so extreme, so powerful, and so self-sufficient that it makes every other off-road camper look like a toy? A six-wheeled monster capable of crossing deserts, mountains, and frozen wastelands without ever needing civilization again. And the craziest part, almost nobody knows it exists. This is not just another camper. This is something far beyond anything Toyota has ever released to the public. A machine that feels like it was designed for the end of the world, not for a weekend trip. And today, you're about to discover the insane 2026 Toyota Hypermax 6x6. A vehicle that doesn't just drive off-road. It dominates it. But before you decide what this really is, wait until you hear what it can actually do in complete isolation from the world. Because this is where things start to get unbelievable. It begins with its presence. The moment you see it, you don't think car anymore. You think fortress. Massive, armored in design, sitting on 6 oversized all-terrain wheels that look like they were built for a lunar mission. The stance alone is intimidating, as if it's always ready to climb over anything in its path. But what makes the Hypermax 6x6 truly different isn't just its size. It's the philosophy behind it. Toyota didn't design this to be a luxury camper that visits nature. They designed it to live in nature, completely, independently, without limits. And that's where the Real story begins. Because under that aggressive exterior lies a hybrid off-grid ecosystem that completely changes what a camper can be. Imagine a living space that doesn't rely on campsites, doesn't need fuel stations every few hours, and doesn't panic when the road disappears. Instead, it adapts. Power comes from a dual-layer energy system combining next-generation hydrogen support with high-density solar skin panels embedded across its roof and side extensions. Even when parked under harsh sunlight, it quietly generates enough energy to sustain life inside for days. But here's the part nobody expects. It doesn't stop there. The Hypermax 6x6 can actually harvest kinetic energy from suspension movement. Every bump, every climb, every rocky impact is converted into usable power. It's like the terrain itself is fueling the machine. And yet, that's still not the most shocking part. Inside, the cabin feels like stepping into a futuristic survival suite rather than a vehicle. Everything is modular. Walls shift. Seating transforms. Sleeping areas expand or retract depending on how many people are inside. It feels alive, like the interior is constantly adapting to your needs. Soft ambient lighting runs through the structure like veins, adjusting color based on time, temperature, and emotional comfort levels detected by internal sensors. Yes, even your stress levels are monitored, and the environment reacts to calm you down without you even noticing. But let's slow down for a moment, because we haven't even talked about how it actually moves. The 6x6 drivetrain is not just for show. Each wheel is independently controlled by an AI torque distribution system that constantly analyzes terrain in real time. Mud, sand, ice, steep rock walls, it doesn't matter. The system shifts power instantly, almost like the vehicle is thinking before you even react. And here's where it gets even more insane. The rear axle isn't just an extra set of wheels for stability. It can independently steer, lift, and even walk the vehicle over obstacles. Imagine a machine that doesn't just drive over rocks. It steps over them. But what happens when the terrain becomes impossible? That's when the Hypermax reveals something almost unbelievable. It doesn't retreat. It reconfigures. Because hidden within its chassis is an adaptive suspension system capable of raising the entire body by nearly a full meter. What looks like a grounded vehicle suddenly becomes a towering off-road beast, clearing obstacles that would stop traditional 4x4s instantly. And just when you think you've understood it, there's another layer. Because the Hypermax 6x6 isn't just a camper or an off-road machine. It's also a mobile survival hub. Inside its rear compartment is a fully integrated micro-living ecosystem. Water purification systems can extract drinkable water from almost any source, even humidity in the air. Air filtration ensures breathable conditions in sandstorms or polluted environments. Food storage systems include vacuum-sealed preservation tech that can keep supplies fresh for weeks without external power. But the real mystery is why Toyota would even build something like this. And that's where things take a surprising turn. Because rumors suggest the Hypermax 6x6 wasn't originally designed for tourism or adventure at all. It was developed under a concept known internally as Project Horizon, a prototype response vehicle for extreme climate collapse scenarios. In other words, a machine built for a future where roads, cities, and infrastructure might not exist in certain regions anymore. And that explains everything. Its durability, its independence, its ability to survive without supply chains. But Toyota never officially confirmed this. Instead, they quietly labeled it as an experimental off-grid expedition platform, which only makes people more curious. And just when you think this machine can't get more advanced, it does. Because communication is another level entirely. The Hypermax 6x6 uses a hybrid satellite mesh network that allows it to stay connected even in dead zones where normal signals vanish. But if that fails, it can switch to vehicle-to-vehicle relay mode, bouncing encrypted signals through other units if they exist nearby. It's like a moving digital ecosystem designed to never be truly disconnected. But let's return to the driving experience, because this is where emotions really come into play. Inside the cockpit, there's no traditional dashboard as you know it. Instead, a curved holographic interface floats in front of the driver, displaying terrain mapping in real time. You don't just see the road ahead, you see everything beneath it. Rocks, dips, unstable ground, hidden water pockets, all visualized before the tires even touch them. And yet, despite all this automation, Toyota has kept one thing sacred: control. The driver still feels every movement, every shift, every climb. The machine assists but never replaces the human connection. But here's where the story takes another unexpected twist. Because early concept testers reported something strange during long expeditions. The vehicle seemed to learn from its environment in ways that weren't documented. It began adjusting driving behavior based on terrain patterns it had encountered days earlier. It optimized energy usage in ways engineers hadn't programmed. It even predicted sandstorm patterns with surprising accuracy. Was it artificial intelligence evolution? Or something deeper in its adaptive system? No one has fully explained it, and that mystery alone has fueled endless speculation among automotive engineers. Now imagine this machine in real-world scenarios. Crossing the Sahara without refueling. Traversing Arctic ice fields without external support. Navigating dense jungle regions where roads don't even exist. The Hypermax 6x6 doesn't just survive these environments, it thrives in them. But even with all this capability, Toyota didn't forget comfort. Inside, the sleeping area feels like a luxury capsule hotel fused with a high-tech expedition base. Climate control adapts instantly. Soundproofing isolates external chaos. Even suspension damping shifts at night to mimic a stable ground surface, making sleep surprisingly natural in the harshest conditions. And yet, there's still one feature that shocks almost everyone who hears about it: a deployable rear expansion module. At the press of a command, the entire back section extends outward, transforming the compact camper into a multi-room mobile base. Workstations, storage bays, and additional sleeping pods unfold like mechanical origami. It doesn't feel like a vehicle anymore. It feels like a moving habitat. But as we near the end of this story, there's something important to understand. The Hypermax 6x6 is not just about engineering extremes. It represents a shift in thinking. A question Toyota seems to be asking the world. What if humans no longer adapt to terrain, but instead carry their own environment with them? And that idea changes everything, because this machine blurs the line between transportation and survival, between luxury and necessity, between exploration and independence. And maybe that's why it feels so futuristic. Not because it exists today, but because it shows what tomorrow might demand. So when you look at the 2026 Toyota Hypermax 6x6, don't just see a vehicle. See a warning. See a possibility. See a future where the only limits that remain are the ones we refuse to break. And if this is what Toyota is already imagining in 2026, then the real question is simple. What comes next? A machine this size should not exist on public roads. Yet here it is, rolling like a moving fortress of luxury, silence, and raw power. People stop, stare, and can't decide if it's a motorhome, a spaceship, or something built for a secret government mission. And when you finally see what's inside, it completely changes your idea of what travel even means. Because this is not just another RV. This is the 2026 Kenworth W1250 motorhome, and many are already calling it the most intimidating luxury RV ever built. But what makes it so extreme? Why would anyone build something this massive, this powerful, and this advanced just for traveling? Well, the answer starts with a problem most luxury RVs could never solve. Traditional motorhomes have always been compromises. You either get comfort or you get power, space or maneuverability, luxury or durability, but never all at once. Until now, the moment the W1250 appears on the road, you feel it before you even see it clearly. The ground vibrates slightly. Cars around it look smaller, almost fragile. And then it comes into full view, a towering, armored-style body sitting on a heavy-duty Kenworth platform, stretched like it was designed for giants. But what's even more shocking is not the size. It's the silence. Because despite its monstrous presence, it moves with unexpected smoothness, almost like it's floating. And that's where the story really begins. The engineers behind this machine didn't want to build just another luxury RV. They wanted to create a self-contained mobile world. Something that could cross continents, survive extreme terrain, and still feel like a five-star penthouse inside. But here's the part nobody expects. The W1250 wasn't originally designed for travelers at all. It started as a concept for long-range expedition command centers, remote operations, disaster response, even mobile research labs in extreme environments. Somewhere along the way, designers asked a question that changed everything. What if you could live inside it comfortably, forever? That question led to the transformation of a heavy-duty Kenworth platform into something completely unrecognizable. And yet, the real engineering breakthrough is hidden underneath. Because beneath the polished exterior lies a reinforced multi-layer chassis built to handle extreme loads without flexing. This is not a modified truck frame. It is an entirely re-engineered foundation designed to carry the weight of an entire luxury residence, fuel systems, water reserves, and advanced stabilization technology. But that's still not the most surprising part. As you move closer, you start noticing details that don't belong on any normal RV. Seamless panel transitions, flush-mounted sensors, hidden ventilation systems that disappear into the body like they were never there. Every surface looks intentional, almost calculated. And then you reach the front. The cab alone looks like it belongs to a futuristic heavy-haul transport unit. Massive reinforced glass, aerodynamic armor like shaping, LED lighting systems that stretch across the width like glowing eyes in the dark. But the real secret is what happens when it starts moving at night. Because the entire vehicle adapts. Sensors constantly scan road conditions, adjusting suspension in real time. The W1250 doesn't just drive. It responds. It reads terrain like a living system. Uneven roads, gravel paths, even steep mountain routes are absorbed into its adaptive hydraulic suspension without shaking the interior. And that brings us to something even more fascinating. Inside this machine, silence is engineered. Not just reduced, eliminated. Special acoustic insulation layers, floating floor systems, and vibration isolation chambers make the interior feel like it's disconnected from the outside world entirely. Even when the engine roars with full power, inside you hear almost nothing. But wait, because that's where things start to feel unreal. As you step inside the W1250, you're not entering a vehicle anymore. You're entering a space that feels closer to a modern luxury penthouse than anything built on wheels. The first thing you notice is space. Real space. Not cramped corridors or foldable furniture, but wide-open living areas with full standing height ceilings. The design tricks your brain into forgetting you're inside a moving object. Then comes the lighting. Soft ambient illumination flows through hidden channels in the walls. It adapts automatically depending on time, mood, and movement. During the day, natural light floods in through reinforced panoramic glass panels. At night, the interior transforms into a warm, glowing environment that feels almost cinematic. But here's where curiosity deepens again, because the W1250 is not just about comfort. It is also about survival independence. Hidden beneath the floor are massive energy storage systems paired with hybrid power generation units. Solar integration on the roof, regenerative energy capture while driving, and intelligent power distribution allow the entire system to operate off-grid for extended periods. In simple terms, this vehicle does not need civilization to survive. And yet, it still offers luxury features that rival high-end hotels. A full kitchen with smart appliances. A lounge area that converts into a cinematic viewing space. A private bedroom suite designed with adjustable climate zones. Even a bathroom system that uses advanced water recycling technology to minimize waste. But the real twist is still coming. Because halfway through development, engineers realized something unexpected. The more they added luxury, the more the vehicle's purpose evolved. It was no longer just about travel. It was about autonomy. And that's when they introduced one of the most advanced systems ever installed in an RV: intelligent route optimization powered by real-time terrain mapping. The W1250 can literally plan its own journey. It scans weather conditions, road stability, fuel efficiency, and elevation changes to choose the safest and most efficient path automatically. And if conditions change unexpectedly, it recalculates everything in seconds. But here's the part that shocked early testers. It can also predict road risks before they happen. Landslides, traffic blockages, weather hazards. The system detects patterns and warns the driver long before reaching danger zones. And yet, despite all this intelligence, the vehicle still feels human in its design philosophy. Because the engineers didn't want it to feel like a machine controlling your life. They wanted it to feel like a companion. But just when you think you understand the W1250, there's another layer hidden beneath everything else. A little-known fact that very few people talk about. The prototype version was tested in extreme desert conditions for nearly 6 months without returning to base. During that time, it didn't just survive. It thrived. Sandstorms, extreme heat, mechanical stress. None of it caused failure. Instead, the system adapted continuously, improving performance over time like a learning organism. That test changed everything. Proved the concept wasn't just functional. It was scalable. And that's when things escalated again. Because now, the W1250 isn't just a concept RV anymore. It represents a new category of transportation entirely. A hybrid between expedition vehicle, luxury home, and autonomous exploration system. But the most shocking feature is still waiting at the end of this journey. Something that redefines what mobility actually means. Inside the rear section of the W1250 is a modular expansion system. When stationary, the vehicle can physically extend its living space outward. Hydraulic slide-outs and structural stabilizers create additional rooms that transform the RV into something closer to a mobile estate. It doesn't just park. It expands. And when you see it fully deployed in an open landscape, it stops looking like a vehicle completely. It becomes a structure, presence, a statement. But even that isn't the final surprise. Because engineers included one last capability that few expected. The W1250 can operate as a self-sustaining command hub in remote environments. Communication systems capable of long-range satellite connectivity, environmental monitoring stations, and encrypted data networks allow it to function as a mobile headquarters anywhere on Earth. That means researchers, explorers, emergency teams, or even high-end travelers can stay connected to the world even in the most isolated regions imaginable. And suddenly, the purpose becomes clear. This isn't just about luxury. It's about freedom without limits. But of course, something this advanced also raises questions. How far can mobile living evolve? When does a vehicle stop being a vehicle? And what happens when travel itself becomes a form of permanent living? The Kenworth W1250 doesn't answer these questions directly. Instead, it challenges you to think about them. And maybe that's the real reason it feels so intimidating. Not because of its size or power, but because it represents a future where boundaries between home, machine, and world begin to disappear. As it rolls away into the horizon, silent and massive, it leaves behind more than just dust. It leaves behind a thought that lingers. If something like this already exists today, then what comes next might be even harder to imagine. And just when you think you've understood everything about this machine, you realize you've only seen the surface. Because the real evolution of the W1250 is still unfolding. What if I told you that an ordinary American van, the kind you might pass on the road without even noticing, has been completely transformed into a 6-wheel, luxury off-road monster capable of crossing deserts, mountains, and frozen wilderness like it was nothing, and yet inside it feels more like a private jet than a vehicle. And the craziest part, this machine actually exists in a world where engineering has pushed the limits so far that it barely feels real anymore. This is the story of the 2026 GMC Savannah 6x6 Explorer, a vehicle that takes everything you think you know about vans, luxury travel, and off-road performance, and completely turns it upside down. Now, at first glance, you would never expect much from the base platform. The original GMC Savannah has always been known as a workhorse, reliable, practical, and built for commercial duty rather than glamour. It's the kind of vehicle used for cargo delivery, shuttle services, and utility fleets. Nothing flashy, nothing extreme. But in this new 2026 concept, everything has changed. Because the moment you see it, you don't see a van anymore. You see a fortress on wheels. A massive, elongated body sits higher than most SUVs, supported by 3 heavy-duty axles instead of 2. 6 enormous off-road tires fill the wheel arches with a sense of raw power, like the vehicle is permanently ready to climb over anything in its path. And yet, despite its aggression, the design still carries a strange elegance, almost like it was sculpted for both survival and luxury at the same time. But what really makes people stop and stare is not just its size. It's the feeling that this machine was built for a purpose far beyond transportation. Because as you look closer, you start noticing details that don't belong on a regular van. The front end is no longer soft or commercial. It has been redesigned with a bold, armored-inspired grille, flanked by ultra-thin LED light strips that stretch like glowing blades through the darkness. The bumper sits high, reinforced, almost like it's expecting impact at any moment and is fully prepared for it. And then there's the suspension. You can actually see it if you look closely underneath the body. A massive, military-grade adaptive system that allows this giant to rise, lower, and stabilize itself across terrain that would stop most vehicles instantly. But here's where things get interesting, because this isn't just about surviving rough terrain. This is about doing it in absolute comfort. Inside, the transformation is almost unbelievable. The moment you step into the cabin, the entire identity of the vehicle shifts from rugged explorer to ultra-luxury lounge. Soft ambient lighting wraps around the interior like a calm wave. Premium leather seats, fully adjustable and heated, recline into near-bed positions. And in the center, a panoramic control interface stretches across the dashboard, offering full command of navigation, terrain modes, entertainment, and even climate zones. It doesn't feel like you're inside a van anymore. It feels like you're inside a moving private suite. But that's not even the most shocking part, because the real innovation of the 6x6 Explorer lies underneath everything you can see. Let's talk about performance. This machine isn't just big, it's engineered for extreme capability. The 6x6 drivetrain means power is distributed across all 6 wheels, allowing maximum traction in sand, snow, mud, and rock. Even if 2 wheels lose grip completely, the remaining ones keep pushing forward without hesitation. And what's powering all of this? A high-output twin-turbo V8 hybrid system, designed not just for raw horsepower, but for controlled torque delivery across unpredictable environments. It doesn't just accelerate, it pulls the entire world behind it. But here's where the story takes another turn, because engineers didn't stop at power or luxury. They went after intelligence. Every movement of the vehicle is assisted by an advanced terrain AI system. Cameras, radar sensors, and predictive mapping work together to read the road before the tires even touch it. If there's a hidden ditch, unstable sand, or ice beneath the surface, the system already knows. And it reacts instantly. Suspension adjusts in milliseconds. Torque shifts across axles without driver input. Steering compensates before instability even begins. It's almost like the vehicle is thinking ahead of you. But why build something like this? That's the question most people ask when they first see it. And the answer is not as simple as luxury or performance. Because deep inside the concept, the 6x6 Explorer was imagined as something far more ambitious, a mobile command center for the future of travel, exploration, and survival. Picture this. A storm hits a remote region. Roads disappear. Communication towers fail. Standard vehicles are stranded. But this machine keeps going. It doesn't just survive the environment, it adapts to it. And that idea changes everything about how it was designed. As we move deeper into the build, another layer of detail starts to reveal itself. The roof isn't just a roof. It's a modular platform, Solar-assisted panels line the top surface, feeding energy into auxiliary systems. A retractable observation pod can rise from the center, offering a 360-degree view of the surroundings. In some configurations, it even supports drone deployment systems for scouting ahead in unexplored terrain. And yet, it still manages to feel like a luxury vehicle inside. Because while all of this advanced engineering is happening outside, inside remains calm, quiet, and almost hotel-like in comfort. But then comes a twist that changes how you look at everything. Because this isn't just about exploration, it's also about isolation. The 2026 GMC Savannah 6x6 Explorer is designed to function as a self-sustaining environment for extended travel. Built-in water purification systems, long-range fuel optimization, emergency food storage compartments, and even climate-controlled sleeping zones allow passengers to remain inside for days without needing external support. It's not just a vehicle anymore. It's a survival ecosystem. And yet somehow, it still drives like a luxury cruiser on smooth highways. That contrast is what makes it so fascinating. Now imagine this machine moving through a desert at sunset. 6 massive tires carving through golden sand, the suspension floating over dunes like waves in the ocean. Inside, soft ambient lighting reflects off polished interior surfaces, while passengers sit back in silence, watching the horizon shift through panoramic windows. Feels unreal, almost cinematic. But here's something most people don't realize. Vehicles like this are not just designed for fantasy. They often preview technologies that eventually trickle down into real-world automotive innovation. Adaptive suspension systems, hybrid off-road drivetrains, AI-assisted terrain mapping. All of these ideas start in extreme concept machines before becoming everyday features years later. And that brings us to the middle of this story, where things get even more surprising. Because there's a hidden inspiration behind the 6x6 concept that very few people talk about. Engineers didn't just look at luxury SUVs or modern vans. They studied military transport systems, Arctic expedition vehicles, and even lunar rover design principles. The goal was simple but extreme: create a civilian vehicle that could survive conditions closer to space exploration than normal driving. And when you realize that, everything about its design suddenly makes sense. The reinforced frame isn't just for durability. The 6-wheel system isn't just for traction. The adaptive AI isn't just for convenience. It's all part of a single idea: remove all limits between driver and environment. But even then, the most impressive feature is still ahead. Because hidden within its structure is something that changes everything about long-distance travel. A dynamic stabilization core. This system constantly balances weight distribution in real time, adjusting not just for terrain, but for passenger movement, cargo shifts, and even wind resistance. It keeps the vehicle stable in situations where physics alone would normally make it impossible to control. And that's when you start to understand something important. This isn't just a big van. It's a moving platform of controlled impossibility. Now, as we move toward the final part of the story, the focus shifts again. This time to experience. Because what truly defines the 6x6 Explorer isn't just its engineering. It's how it makes people feel. Imagine stepping into this machine before a long journey. The doors close with a soft hydraulic seal. The outside world fades instantly. Noise disappears. Vibration becomes almost non-existent. And suddenly you're not traveling anymore. You're floating through mountains, deserts, forests, and frozen landscapes. All from the comfort of a silent, glowing interior design to keep you completely disconnected from chaos. But just when you think it can't get more advanced, there's one final detail. The entire system is designed to evolve. Software updates continuously refine driving behavior, efficiency, and terrain response. Over time, the vehicle becomes more intelligent, more adaptive, and more personalized to its driver than ever before. It learns, it adjusts, it improves. And that raises a fascinating question. If a vehicle can adapt like this, where does the machine end and the experience begin? Because the 2026 GMC Savannah 6x6 Explorer isn't just redefining what a van can be. It's redefining what travel itself could become in the near future. And as you picture it disappearing into the horizon, 6 wheels cutting through untouched terrain, glowing softly under a fading sky, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just transportation. It's the beginning of a completely new way to move through the world. And maybe, just maybe, this is only the first glimpse of what the future of exploration will truly look like. What if a battlefield truck could turn into a floating 5-star hotel on wheels? A machine so powerful it was originally built for war zones, but now carries marble interiors, silent luxury, and enough tech to make private jets feel outdated. And the most unbelievable part is this isn't science fiction anymore. At first glance, it doesn't even look like something meant for comfort. It looks massive, almost intimidating. A towering presence built to survive deserts, mountains, floods, and anything the earth throws at it. This is based on the legendary engineering DNA of Mercedes-Benz, known for pushing boundaries between extreme utility and precision luxury. But then you realize something strange. This isn't just a vehicle. It's a moving fortress that has been secretly transformed into a luxury residence. And the transformation is so extreme that most people don't even believe it until they see it. Because underneath that rugged armor lies the foundation of the Mercedes Zetros platform, a machine originally designed for off-road military logistics. A truck built to carry heavy loads across terrain where normal vehicles simply disappear. But what happens when engineers take something that powerful and decide it should also feel like a penthouse apartment? That's where things start to get unbelievable. As you step closer, the first thing you notice is the height. You're not walking into a camper. You're stepping into something that feels like a mobile building. The suspension alone is engineered to lift this giant over rocks, sand dunes, and deep mud like they don't even exist. And here's the first twist. Most people assume a vehicle like this would feel loud, harsh, and mechanical inside. But the reality is the complete opposite. Because the moment you enter, the outside world disappears. Sound insulation is so advanced that even the roar of its massive engine fades into a distant whisper. It's almost like stepping into a luxury hotel suite that just happens to be moving across the wilderness. But that's not even the most surprising part. Because while you're still processing the silence, your eyes land on the interior, and everything changes again. Soft ambient lighting wraps around the cabin like a calm glow. Premium leather seating blends with handcrafted wood finishes. The materials don't just look expensive. They feel intentional, almost like every surface was designed to tell a story. And then you realize something strange again. This isn't just luxury for comfort. It's luxury built for survival. Every detail has a purpose. Every panel has a function. And every system is designed to keep people comfortable in places where comfort shouldn't even exist. But wait, because what's hidden behind these elegant surfaces is where the real engineering story begins. The structure itself is reinforced like a military bunker, not to look aggressive, but to survive isolation, extreme heat, freezing cold, remote environments where help doesn't exist for hundreds of kilometers. And yet, despite all that strength, the interior feels more like a private yacht than an off-road truck. Now here's where things take a sharp turn. Because this isn't just about luxury. It's about independence. Inside, you don't just find seats and beds, you find a fully self-sustaining ecosystem. Power systems designed to operate off-grid for long durations. Water filtration systems capable of turning remote sources into usable supply. Energy storage systems that keep everything alive without external input. But the real question is, why would anyone build something like this? And the answer slowly reveals itself as the story unfolds. This machine isn't just for travel. It's for escape, exploration, survival, and ultimate freedom. But we're not there yet, because the next detail completely changes the game. As you move deeper into the cabin, the layout begins to feel almost unbelievable for a vehicle of this size and origin. A fully functional kitchen appears, designed not like a camper add-on, but like something you'd expect in a high-end urban apartment. Smooth surfaces, hidden storage, silent closing mechanisms. Everything engineered for motion stability so nothing shifts, even when the vehicle climbs steep terrain. And just when you think it can't get more advanced, it does. Because above you, lighting systems adjust automatically based on time, mood, and environment. The interior doesn't just stay lit, it adapts. It reacts. It responds. But that's not even the most impressive part yet. Because somewhere in the background, hidden behind elegant design, is the real brain of this machine. A control system that manages terrain response, climate control, energy distribution, and safety protocols all at once. It's like having a digital pilot for a land-based spacecraft. And still, we're only scratching the surface. Now imagine this, you're deep in a desert. No roads. No signals. No civilization for miles. And yet inside this motorhome, you have climate-controlled comfort, warm lighting, running water, and complete connectivity to the outside world. That contrast is what makes this machine feel almost unreal. But halfway through this journey, something even more interesting emerges. Because hidden within this luxury transformation is a fact most people don't know. Vehicles like this are not just built for comfort or adventure. They are often used in research missions, emergency response scenarios, and extreme exploration projects where standard infrastructure cannot reach. That means what looks like a luxury mansion on wheels is also a survival-grade command unit. And suddenly, everything starts to make sense. The strength, the insulation, the independence, the over-engineered systems. It's not excess. It's necessity disguised as luxury. But there's still one question left unanswered. How does something this heavy, this powerful, this complex, still move with control and stability across the harshest terrain on Earth? The answer lies beneath the surface. The chassis is engineered to distribute weight in a way that keeps balance even on uneven ground. The suspension system is built not just for comfort, but for constant adaptation. It reacts in real time, adjusting to terrain changes before the passengers even feel them. And that creates a strange sensation, almost like the vehicle is thinking for itself. But that's not even the most futuristic part. Because inside the cockpit, drivers aren't just controlling a truck. They are interacting with a system that blends mechanical strength with digital intelligence. Navigation systems that predict terrain difficulty. Stability systems that compensate for shifts before they happen. And monitoring systems that track every vital function of the vehicle like a living organism. At this point, it stops feeling like a motorhome and starts feeling like a mobile, intelligent fortress. But the most shocking transformation comes when you realize what this vehicle represents in the modern world. Because this isn't just about engineering anymore. It's about lifestyle evolution. The idea that humans no longer have to choose between adventure and comfort, between wilderness and luxury, between survival and elegance. This machine merges all of it into one moving space. And yet, the deeper story still hasn't been fully revealed. Because there is one feature hidden in designs like this that most people overlook completely. The ability to disconnect from the world entirely. No noise, no stress, no boundaries. Just movement through landscapes that most people will never even see, let alone experience in full comfort. And suddenly, the Zetro's concept becomes something more than a vehicle. It becomes freedom. But just when you think you understand it, there's one final layer that pushes everything even further. Imagine parking this machine on the edge of a mountain. Outside, the world is silent, raw, and untouched. Inside, you have warmth, light, and absolute control over your environment. You can stay there for days, weeks, even longer, without relying on civilization at all. That level of independence is what makes it so powerful. And it raises a bigger question. Are we witnessing the future of travel, or the future of living itself? Because if a military-grade machine can be transformed into a luxury home, then the line between transportation and habitation is starting to disappear completely. And now we reach the final revelation. The true genius of the 2026 Mercedes Zetro's motorhome isn't just its power, or its luxury, or its engineering. It's the contradiction it represents. A machine designed for war, now redesigned for peace. A vehicle built for extreme survival, now transformed into extreme comfort. A platform made for isolation, now used for exploration. And that transformation says something powerful about where technology is heading. We are no longer building machines for a single purpose. We are building environments that move. And as you step back from this incredible creation, one thought stays behind. If this is what a military truck can become today, then the question isn't what it can do now. The real question is, what will it become next? And somehow, after seeing everything it can already do, that future feels closer than anyone expected. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere, where normal vehicles would give up, break down, and beg for help, this machine just keeps going. It doesn't care about roads. It doesn't care about weather. And it definitely doesn't care about limits. What you're about to see is a $650,000 rolling fortress built on a 2026 Ford F556 by 6 platform, and it might just be the most extreme survival camper ever created. Because this is not just a truck, and it's not just a motorhome, there's something in between, and something far beyond both. Now imagine this. You're deep in a remote desert. No signal, no roads, no help for hundreds of miles. And instead of worrying, you're inside a luxury armored cabin, air conditioning running, lights glowing, food cooking, and satellite systems keeping you connected to the outside world. Outside, the world looks hostile. Inside, it feels like a moving 5-star bunker. But what makes this machine so unbelievable isn't just comfort. It's the fact that it was built to survive situations where survival should not even be possible. And the deeper you go into its design, the more you realize, this thing was built with a completely different mindset. Let's start with the foundation. The 2026 Ford F550 already isn't a normal truck. It's a commercial-grade beast designed for heavy-duty towing, construction, and industrial work. But here, it's been pushed into an entirely different universe. The chassis has been stretched, reinforced, and upgraded into a 6x6 configuration. That means not 4 wheels, not even the usual 6-wheel luxury truck setup, but a true all-terrain tri-axle monster. And that's where things start to get interesting, because the moment you add that third powered axle, everything changes. Traction becomes almost unstoppable. Mud, sand, rocks, snow, none of it matters anymore. But there's a catch. More power means more stress, and more stress means engineering has to go far beyond factory limits. And that's exactly what makes this build so insane. But the real shock isn't under the hood. It's what's built on top of it. The armored camper module looks like something between a luxury yacht and a military command center. The outer shell is reinforced with ballistic-grade materials designed to resist impacts, extreme weather, and even forced entry attempts. This is not just for show. It's real protection for real-world threats. And yet, somehow, it still manages to feel like a luxury apartment. Inside, the first thing you notice is silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of engineering perfection. Thick insulation blocks out the outside world completely. Even if you're driving through a storm or rough terrain, inside feels calm, controlled, almost unreal. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Because this camper is not just about survival. It's about independence. It carries its own power system, massive lithium battery banks paired with solar input and a high-output generator. That means it can run off-grid for days, sometimes even weeks, depending on usage. Lights, appliances, communication systems, climate control. Everything is designed to function without external support. And just when you think it's already over-engineered, you discover the water system. Advanced filtration allows the vehicle to take almost any available water source and convert it into drinkable supply. Rivers, lakes, even stored reserves, it's all processed and purified inside the system. In survival terms, this is the difference between dependence and self-sufficiency. But there's still something missing in this picture. Because why would anyone build something this extreme? And that question leads to the next layer of the story. This isn't just a camper for luxury travelers. It's designed for a very specific kind of person. Someone who doesn't just travel off-grid, but lives beyond infrastructure. Think explorers, documentary teams, emergency response units, and extreme adventurers who go where normal rescue is impossible. But even then, there's a detail most people miss. This machine is not just defensive. It's intelligent. Inside, the control systems are fully digital. A central command interface manages navigation, power distribution, security systems, and environmental controls. It's like having a mission control center inside a truck. Everything is monitored in real time, and this is where things start to shift from impressive to almost unbelievable. Because hidden within the system are autonomous support features. If the driver becomes fatigued, the system can assist with stabilization. If terrain becomes dangerous, traction systems adapt instantly. If communication is lost, satellite backup kicks in automatically. It's not just a vehicle anymore. It's a self-sustaining survival ecosystem. But wait, because the most shocking part is still ahead. Let's talk about mobility. A 6x6 armored camper sounds heavy. And it is. Extremely heavy. But somehow, this machine moves like it's not even trying. Reinforced suspension systems, heavy-duty axles, and adaptive damping technology allow it to handle terrain that would destroy ordinary vehicles. Rock crawling? It does it. Flooded roads? Pushes through. Deep sand dunes? Climbs like they're flat ground. But there's a moment when you realize something strange. This vehicle doesn't just move through terrain. It dominates it. And that's when you understand the philosophy behind the build. This isn't about escaping nature. It's about surviving anything nature throws at you. And then comes a detail that completely changes the perspective. Because while most armored vehicles focus on defense or military use, this one integrates luxury survival living. Inside, you'll find a compact kitchen system, sleeping quarters, storage modules, and even entertainment systems. Everything is optimized for long-term isolation. But here's the twist. None of it feels cramped. Every inch is engineered for efficiency. Hidden compartments slide out from walls. Furniture folds seamlessly into structure. Space is constantly transforming based on need. One moment it's a living room, the next it's a workspace, and then it becomes a sleeping area. And just when you think the design couldn't get smarter, it does. Because lighting, temperature, and airflow all adapt automatically based on occupancy and external conditions. The system learns your habits over time. It adjusts itself without being asked. But halfway through this journey, there's something even more surprising. This vehicle isn't just built for comfort or survival. It's built with redundancy everywhere. Multiple backup systems exist for nearly every function. If one system fails, another takes over instantly. If one power source drops, another activates. If communication is lost, satellite relays maintain connection. It's like the entire machine is designed around one idea. Failure is not an option. And that's when the reality hits. This is not a camper for vacations. This is a mobile fortress for worst-case scenarios. But the most fascinating part isn't just what it can do. It's what it represents. Because vehicles like this are part of a growing movement toward extreme self-reliance. As climate conditions become less predictable and remote exploration becomes more popular, machines like this are no longer science fiction. They are becoming practical solutions for a very unpredictable world. And then comes the moment that changes everything again. Because hidden in its design is a feature most people overlook: stealth capability. Not military-grade invisibility, but intelligent design choices that reduce external detection. Low-profile lighting, controlled emissions, and sound-dampening construction all help the vehicle stay discreet when needed. It's not about hiding. It's about not being noticed unless necessary. And that leads to the final evolution of its purpose. This machine is not just about surviving disasters. It's about preventing dependency on fragile systems in the first place. Now imagine being inside it during a storm in the mountains. Wind howling outside, trees bending, roads collapsing. But inside, everything remains stable. Lights are steady, temperature controlled, systems fully active. That contrast alone feels almost unreal. And yet, this is exactly what it was built for. But the final shock is still ahead. Because when engineers push a platform this far, they don't just think about today. They think about tomorrow. A Upgradable systems mean this 6x6 platform can evolve. New tech can be integrated. Power systems can be expanded. Communication systems can be upgraded. It's not a finished product. It's a living platform, and that's what makes it truly dangerous and truly brilliant. Because while most vehicles age and lose relevance, this one adapts. And finally, when you step back and look at the full picture, it stops being just a $650,000 armored camper. It becomes something else entirely. A symbol of how far engineering has come. A machine that blends survival, luxury, and autonomy into one unstoppable system. And maybe the most shocking thought of all is this: if this is what exists today, then what will survival vehicles look like just 10 years from now? Because after seeing something like this, it's hard to believe we've reached the peak. And that feeling, that uncertainty, is exactly what makes this 2026 Ford F556x6 armored camper one of the most insane survival rigs ever built. For years, people have believed that traveling in a camper means one thing: massive RVs, huge fuel bills, complicated systems, and parking nightmares that turn every trip into stress. But what if I told you there is a completely different kind of camper? One that looks small, simple, almost ordinary at first glance, yet hides a level of innovation that makes even luxury motorhomes feel outdated. And what if that camper is coming from a brand nobody expected to change the RV world at all? Because inside this story is the 2026 Suzuki Camper motorhome, a machine designed specifically for people who hate big RVs. And the more you look at it, the more it starts to feel like it should not even exist. At first, it looks impossible. Too compact to be comfortable. Too simple to be powerful. Too small to replace a full-size motorhome. But then you open the door, and everything you thought you knew about camper travel starts to fall apart. But here's the strange part. This is not just a camper. It feels like a carefully engineered answer to a question nobody thought Suzuki would ever ask. Why do we accept that travel homes must be huge, when freedom is supposed to be simple? And that question changes everything. Because the moment you step inside the concept of this 2026 Suzuki camper, you realize something unexpected. This isn't built for luxury show-offs. This is built for people who want escape without the burden. People who want nature without complication. People who want to travel without feeling like they're driving a house. But the real shock is how far Suzuki went to make that possible. Let's start from the outside. The first impression is almost deceiving. It still carries that familiar compact Suzuki DNA, something between a small van and a utility vehicle. Clean lines, lightweight body, nothing aggressive or oversized. You might even walk past it in a parking lot without realizing what it actually is. But then you notice the details. The body isn't just compact, it's shaped with purpose. Every curve is designed to reduce drag. Every panel is made from ultra-light composite materials that help it stay efficient even on long journeys. And unlike traditional motorhomes that feel like they are fighting the wind, this one moves through it almost effortlessly. And that's when the first curiosity hits. Why would a camper need this level of aerodynamic engineering if it was only meant for short trips? The answer slowly reveals itself later. But before that, there's something even more interesting. The wheels. They look small at first, but they are not ordinary. Suzuki has designed a reinforced off-road hybrid tire system that allows this camper to move from highways to gravel roads to soft mountain trails without hesitation. It's not trying to be a rugged 4x4 monster, but it also refuses to be limited by smooth asphalt. And that balance is where the philosophy of this entire vehicle begins to show. But the real transformation begins when you open the sliding side door. Because everything changes. Inside, it doesn't feel like a cramped van. It feels like a rethinking of space itself. Every inch has been reimagined. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is oversized. And yet, nothing feels missing. The seating area is the first surprise. Instead of bulky furniture, Suzuki uses modular folding structures that shift depending on your needs. A seat becomes a bed. A table disappears into the wall. Storage compartments are hidden inside structural panels. But here's where it gets interesting. Everything inside this camper is designed to serve multiple purposes at once. Nothing is single-use, and that idea alone is what makes it feel futuristic. Because the moment you realize a small space can behave like a large one, your perception of travel completely shifts. And yet, this is still just the beginning. Because hidden beneath the flooring is one of the most surprising engineering choices Suzuki has ever made. A micro-hybrid power system. Instead of relying on a massive fuel engine like traditional RVs, this camper uses a compact hybrid unit paired with an ultra-efficient electric assist system. It allows silent driving in cities, reduced fuel consumption on highways, and even short off-grid electric camping modes. And this is where another question appears. Why would a small camper need silent electric mobility? The answer becomes clearer later, when you realize this vehicle is not designed for campsites. It's designed for anywhere. But let's not rush, because what happens next inside the cabin is even more surprising. The control system. There are no overwhelming dashboards.
No complicated buttons everywhere.
Instead, Suzuki introduces a minimalist smart interface. A central control panel that learns your habits over time. It adjusts lighting, temperature, even power usage depending on your travel behavior. And it responds instantly. But here's the twist. There is no need for constant manual control. The camper actually anticipates your needs. At night, it dims itself automatically. During long drives, it adjusts airflow and seating comfort. When parked in nature, it shifts into low-energy quiet mode without being asked. And that's when it starts to feel less like a vehicle and more like a living system. But Suzuki didn't stop there. Because one of the most unexpected features is hidden above you. The roof system. At first glance, it looks like a standard roof panel. But with a simple activation, it transforms into a pop-up sleeping loft with panoramic skylight panels. Imagine lying down at night and seeing stars directly above you, without leaving your bed. But even that is not the most shocking part. Because this roof system also contains integrated solar layers. Which means while you're sleeping in the middle of nowhere, your camper is quietly generating its own power. And suddenly, the idea of dependency on campsites, fuel stations, and external electricity starts to fade. But here's where things take a deeper turn. Around the middle of this design concept, engineers revealed something very few people expected. This camper was originally not designed for recreational travel. It was designed for survival mobility in unpredictable environments. That changes everything. Because suddenly all those compact systems, the efficient power usage, the modular interior, it all makes sense. This wasn't just about comfort. It was about independence. And that's why Suzuki focused so heavily on reducing size without reducing capability. But there's more. Because the storage system inside this camper is almost deceptive. It looks small at first, until you realize that hidden compartments exist everywhere. Floor storage, wall storage, seat storage, even ceiling storage systems that lower down when needed. It feels like a puzzle that keeps expanding the more you use it. And yet, despite all this complexity, the experience remains simple. That is the paradox Suzuki seems to have solved. But the story doesn't stop here. Because now we move into the driving experience. And this is where everything becomes even more surprising. On the road, the 2026 Suzuki camper behaves nothing like a typical RV. There is no heavy dragging sensation, no slow acceleration. Instead, it feels responsive, almost like driving a large SUV rather than a home on wheels. The steering is light. The suspension adapts automatically to road conditions. And the hybrid system ensures smooth power delivery even on steep climbs. But here's the part that shocks most people. It is easier to drive than many regular family cars. And that raises a strange thought. Why have we accepted that bigger travel means harder control? Suzuki seems to be challenging that idea completely. But just when you think you understand this machine, there's another layer waiting. Because this camper is connected to a real-time environmental mapping system. It scans terrain, weather, and road conditions ahead of time. It doesn't just react. It predicts. If a storm is coming, it suggests alternative routes. If fuel efficiency drops in certain terrain, it recalculates driving modes. If a scenic location is nearby, it quietly alerts the driver. And it does all this without overwhelming the user. But the most fascinating part is still ahead. Because Suzuki has integrated a concept they call adaptive living mode. This means the interior of the camper literally adapts based on where you are. In cities, it feels compact and efficient. In forests, it opens up visually with lighting changes and panoramic window adjustments. In mountains, it shifts energy usage to maximize warmth and stability. It's like the vehicle is emotionally aware of its surroundings. And that might sound exaggerated until you see it in action. But now comes the most unexpected twist in the entire story. Because the reason this camper exists is not just innovation. It's a reaction to a global shift in how people want to live. More and more travelers are rejecting large RVs. They are tired of maintenance, tired of fuel costs, tired of complexity. They want something simpler, lighter, freer. And Suzuki noticed something others ignored. Freedom is not about size. It's about mobility. And that realization is what led to this design philosophy. But we are still not done. Because there is one final feature that changes everything again. Emergency transformation mode. If the camper detects extreme conditions, it can reduce its footprint even further. Systems retract. Energy consumption drops. It becomes more efficient, more stable, and easier to shelter in harsh environments. It's not just a camper anymore. It's a survival capsule disguised as a travel vehicle. And that dual identity is what makes it so unique. But as we move toward the end of this journey, one question remains. Is this the future of camping? Or just a bold experiment? Because while traditional motorhomes offer space, luxury, and comfort, they also demand sacrifice in mobility and simplicity. This Suzuki camper removes that trade-off entirely. But in doing so, it also challenges what we think a home on wheels should be. And maybe that's the real innovation here. Not just technology, but philosophy. Because the 2026 Suzuki Camper motorhome is not trying to impress you with size. It's trying to redefine what you actually need to travel freely. And as you step back and look at it one more time, small, efficient, almost understated, you start to realize something important. The future of travel might not be bigger at all. It might be smaller, smarter, and far more capable than we ever expected. And that's what makes this machine so unforgettable. Because it doesn't just take you places. It changes the way you think about going there.